Hello everybody, this is GeneralJannis, and today in the channel we are looking at the Champions of Contagion, the detachment review. And when I first looked at this detachment, I wasn't really impressed, but now as I've read about it and seen and theory crafted it, I think it's really interesting. We can use a lot of our characters attaching and gaining a lot of buffs and nice synergies to be able to stack our plagues and contagions. So with no further ado, let's get started. So today, the 7th of June, and in Games Workshop is doing its best to maximize all the Chaos factions one after another. So now Chaos Knights pre-ordered today, so I had to just order the 7 War Dog Battle Force. I know that they have been nerfed now, but I have my third army is Chaos Knights. I only had 8 War Dogs. Now with 7, I can always. I'm more flexible to choose something. But as I said in this video, focusing on the detachment review of Champions of Contagion, I've already looked at Deathlord Chosen, Taliban Summoners, Virulent Victorium, and Mortarian's Hammer, and basically in the Powxalker video, I also talked a little bit about the things in the Shamble Road Victorium. But so as I said, Champions of Contagion review, we look at the Detachment Rule, Enhancement and Stratagems, then what combos, ideas and plays do we do, some math and some example lists before the summary and final thoughts. Before I start, a big shout out and special thanks to all my YouTube member GeneralJannis supporters. I really appreciate all your support, and I enjoy your comments, questions, and your support here. So looking at the Champions of Contagion detachment rule, the manifold maladies, basically at the start of the battle round, you can select one of the plagues from Nurgle's gift, and you have that one active instead of the one you chose before. So basically, every battle round we can select if you want to have the contagion, the affliction, meaning -1 to be hit, -1 save on the enemy, or -1 move, -1 leadership, and -1 objective control. And I think this is a flexible and helpful rule to adapt the plague as needed as the battle progresses. So many times I guess you wouldn't take this one with objective control from in a normal game. Probably will go -1 save if we're facing power armor enemies, -1 to be hit against demons or something like this. But being able to change at the end of the game, maybe when objective fighting for the last objectives or something like this could be strong to change your strategy. And the detachment also has a lot of shenanigans, and it's centered around leaders and their attached units, and you have the possibility to actually stack some of those plagues. You could get 2 of them active, or even all 3 could be active, and that's a strong combo with our -1 toughness Nurgle's gift. Looking at the enhancements of the Champions of Contagion, I think one of them is really a must-have if you play this detachment, and it's the final ingredient. It's only 20 points, and it's for a Biologus Purifier. And when Biologus Purifier units kills a character in melee, because it says once per battle after the bearer's unit has fought, so I guess this means melee. If you kill a character destroyed in that attack, you choose an additional plague, and this is active then on top of whatever you choose for the duration of the battle. So then in that case you could take -1 save, and then you're free to choose some of the others. Choose the one you want to be active all the time when you kill a character. So I think this is a must-have enhancement and very fun for this Champions of Contagion detachment. And basically, the big combo here is Biologus, big squad of Plague Marines that you can ferry with a Rhino, probably a mix of Meltas and heavy plague weapons and blight launchers, a mixed squad or a melee-oriented squad. Also Plague Caster for the sustained hits, and this combo can kill quite a lot of things. Maybe bring them fast on the table with a Rhino, stage something, kill something, and then you have 2 plagues active, and this is really strong and should be taken in this detachment period. Then we have the Cornucophagus, which is how do you pronounce that one? Phagus, of course, is Greek, but for 35 points it's a bit expensive, but it's interesting rule. It's for a Lord of Poxes, and in the Declare the Battle formation, the Lord of Poxes is carrying a certain plague that you can select, and you can choose it in the Declare battle formations. So basically you will have one that you're choosing all the time, and Lord of Poxes will carry a second one all the time. This is strong but a bit expensive for 35 points, but it could be fun to use. Lord of Boxes is nice to spread contagion with. He's already 3-inch more contagion range. He cannot be targeted from distance, so could you bring him in the middle of the table, and with his 12-inch bubble from round 3 he can spread additional plague. If you also do the final if you also had done the final ingredient, then you could potentially have 3 plagues active within Lord of Boxes bubble as well. A big squad in the middle, try to keep him alive and spread the contagion. This could be an interesting use for the Champions of Contagion. Which brings us to the Needle of Nurgle for 25 points. And here the Surgeon's ability to resurrect, instead of resurrecting one model, you can resurrect D3 models. And could this mean that the Surgeon is finally useful? I think the combination of a lot of boxes with Chronophagos and you have the Surgeon in this squad, a big squad of Plague Marines, and then if the opponent shoots at them, some are killed, the Surgeon can resurrect and keep the squad alive, so you can get benefit of the contagion. That could be an interesting combo. It's expensive, but it could be fun to use. Finally, as good as these 3 are, the Visions of Virulence enhancement for 15 points is I can't really see any need of that. It's for the Plague Caster, and while the enemy is enfeebled, this is the ability after Malignant Plague Caster has shot with his psychic things, then you can select an enemy infantry that is -1 to -2 to move. On top of this, then they are afflicted. This is not very interesting, because if the Plague Caster already is in Plague Marine, you can still shoot at something from 24 inches with Plague Marine bolt guns and they will be afflicted. So I can't really see any need for the Visions of Virulence. If I'm wrong, please write in the comment if you find some use, but for me this is completely lackluster and the other 3 are really fun and interesting. Looking at the Champions of Contagion stratagems, I think also the stratagems are a good mix of defensive and offensive buffs, so giving us a bit more flexibility to choose something in the heat of the battle, and basically all of them go for attached units, so you need a leader and the unit to use them. You can't just use them on a unit of infantry without a leader, but they are strong. And Blessings of Filth for 1 command point. It's 1 death card attached unit either in the shoot phase or fight phase, so again good flexibility here. They get critical hits on 5+. This is nice combo with our lethal hits. Basically this is what Biologus brings as a leader ability, but for a unit that doesn't have Biologus Putrefier, for example Deathshroud plus Lord of Contagion, these can be really strong, critically hitting on 5s, lethal hits and sustained hits from Lord of Contagion with Lance afterwards. Yeah, it's really strong for 1 command point. The Malignus Magnified for 2 command points. This is also strong, a bit expensive, but a death card attached unit either in the shoot or fight phase, so again quite flexible. Allows you to reroll all the hit roll and all the wound roll versus a target that is a bit wounded below its starting strength. So this is the limitation. But normally you would maybe be able to, if you shoot and take something off a big scary unit, then charging and doing the melee damage with the Malignus Magnified, it really can help. A bit costly at 2 command points, and this could wreak absolute havoc for a big unit of Plague Marines with Biologus and Plague Caster, for example with the final ingredient, rerolling everything to hit, fishing for critical hits, rerolling everything to wound for what didn't critically hit. Lord of Contagion and Deathshroud, I'll show you the math. It's terrifying how much damage 250 points of Lord of Contagion and Deathshroud can do with Malignus Magnified. Then some of the defensive buffs, the Grotesque Fortitude for 1 command point. For a death card attached unit, when the enemy shoots or fights at them, again flexible, gains +2 toughness. So this is cool because basically if we have, let's say, Typhus with Powxalkers, then they can become toughness 6 Powxalkers. You can get toughness 7-8 Plague Marines and toughness 9 Terminators. So this is quite nice to do buff it, and depending on what is shooting at you or fighting against you, you can use this one, and probably the enemy will have trouble wounding maybe only on 5s or something like this. Rapid Infusion for 1 command point, again This is for in the fight phase for a death card unit with 2 leaders. So basically that means in practice the Plague Marines can gain fight first. And this is a very strong stratagem, and if we don't take the Foul Blight Spawn, because I think the Biologus and Plaguecaster combo is better, we have 1 command point to fight first, and a big squad of Plague Marines fighting first can decimate the opponent before they can hurt you. Death's Head for 1 command point, again for Biologus Purifier. In the shooting phase, you can select a unit within 8 inches of Biologus, and this unit will suffer all the plagues until the next the start of the next turn. So this is quite strong, and if you want to steal an objective or something like this, yeah, being the enemy, -1 save, -1 to be hit, and minus move leadership and objective control can be really nice. Finally, like in the enhancement, there was one odd one, and there is also one odd one of the stratagems. The others are really good. The mobile vector for 1 command point in the move phase, at the end of the move phase, a death card character that is alone can join an infantry unit if he's very close by. If it's not already full or has the same character, okay, that can be okay, but I can't really see this having a very high practical use. Yeah, I can't see how this will help you, but all the other stratagems are useful. So the list building ideas and combos for the Champions of Contagion, I think it's a good detachment rule, strong enhancements and strong stratagems, and basically it's for leaders and attached units. So the main focus should be on leaders and attached unit. I think a must-have is a 10-man Plague Marine unit with mixed configuration or melee-oriented configuration with Biologus, final ingredient, a Plaguecaster, and a Rhino to deliver them fast. Stage and kill an enemy unit, and then you have double the plagues active for the duration of the battle. Another interesting block could be a big unit of Plague Marines, maybe more shoot-oriented or mixed-oriented, with a Lord of Poxes, with the Cornucophagus, and Surgeon with a Needle. Is also a bit expensive, but it's durable with resurrecting Plague Marines, and afflict as much as possible with an extra plague that maybe is the other. You can select one, maybe you get the final ingredient, and then you have a third active for the Lord of Poxes. And this one, because he cannot be targeted outside of 18 inches, maybe you don't need a Rhino here, you can maybe walk them up the field. Lord of Contagion and the Deathshroud deep striking 6 inches is one of the strongest combos in our book, and now we can enhance that with good stratagems, 5+ to crit hit, for example. And then if you want to use a lot of these stratagems, which you probably would like to do, then you should probably bring a Talisman to generate command point. A Demon Prince close by for command point deduction could also be interesting. He will not benefit himself from let's say stratagems and things like that, but he can make the costly rerolling to wound cheap, or the critical hits on 5+ or fight first or something like this. So all in all, it's a balanced detachment with a lot of offensive buffs. Of course, our -1 save plague, 5+ critical hit and reroll hits and wounds, and defensive buffs are -1 to be hit by the plague. This gives 33% more durability. Normally fight first for a big unit of Plague Marines, +2 toughness when be shot at, and etc. etc. And for utility buffs, of course, if we can strip the enemy from objective control, reduce him down to 1 at least, reduce his leadership at the end of the game, maybe force some battle shocks, and reduce their movement, all of this is helpful. And some math on some selective enhancements, combos and stratagems. So I think here I'm showing you just the Lord of Contagion with 3 Deathshroud. This is 250 points, and this is the damage they can do. It's already very high damage when they charge, because they get the lance and sustained hits. This is no rerolls, no any shenanigans like this. They can turn the hit up and destroy a lot of enemy units. For example, almost 5 enemy Terminators here. But if we are really struggling and we really need to kill a very beefy opponent, then just adding the critical hits on 5+, a stratagem for 1 command point, it gives us more damage output overall. So for example, 20 wounds on a big knight instead of 16 wounds, and definitely taking out a land raider or something like this. If we use the 2 command points to reroll all to hit or wound, we are at 25 wounds for a big knight. So now, I mean, most of the targets will be running out of enemy models. And if you combine, this is 3 command point combo, of course this is very expensive, rerolling everything and critical hits on 5s, you can do, let's say, you could almost take out 2 land raiders with that, or be completely sure you'll be taking out a big knight. And then the rerolling all to hit and all to wound for a big squad of Plague Marines with the Biologus Beautifier, Malignant Plaguecaster, shooting or melee. We can do some good damage. I've already made a video about the Rhino combo. So disembarking gives you already rerolling all to wound, and Lord of Virulence gives you reroll hit rolls of 1. This is stronger. So already we had high damage output. For example, a disembarking squad could be able to shoot and kill the Land Raider. If you're using the strat, it will be even higher damage than this. So reaching now to the point where I'll give you some example lists of the Champions of Contagion. So this is one of the lists I've been thinking about. So here I'm trying to maximize all the enhancements and all the special flavor of this detachment. So a big squad of Plague Marines. Here I'm taking Blight Launchers, Melta, 1 Spear, and then 4 heavy Plague Weapons. Biologus with the final ingredient, Malignant Plaguecaster, and the Rhino. So this big blob here to hopefully make the final ingredient quickly. 10 Plague Marines with a lot of boxes and Cornucophagos. Plague Surgeon with Needle of Nurgle, also a bit expensive here, but you are saving on the Rhino here. It's a bit protected, this squad. Tallyman and a small squad of Plague Marines. One spawn I had 80 points to spare. 2 squads of Lord of Contagion with Deathshroud to deep strike. 3 footed blow drones with launcher to shoot. Mephitic Blightholder for actions and being fast, and also a bit more anti-vehicle support and so on. And 2 Powxalkers to infiltrate and hopefully survive and spread some contagion early on to assist our efforts. Another list, the Champion of Contagion, example 2. So here I just doubled up on the big squad of Biologus Beautifier, Malignant Plaguecaster, Plague Marines with Rhinos. Here I didn't have the room for more Plague Marines with Tallyman, so Tallyman here has to be alone. Here I'm adding a Lord of Virulence with some Deathshroud support. The Lord of Contagion with Deathshroud for deep striking. The 3 footed blow drones with a launcher that will benefit especially from Lord of Virulence Blight Bombardment, some Powxalkers and some spawn to round off this type of list. But the combinations here are basically endless. And speaking of endless, let's look at some of the Champions of Contagion units that in my main meta-analysis there was a couple of examples of tournament winning list of Champions of Contagion. So typically people have been using the Lord of Virulence, Lord of Contagion. Biologus with final ingredient, of course, must have a Demon Prince in one of the lists here to reduce the stratagem cost. Foul Blight Spawn still used. I'm not sure he's really needed now that we have the fight first stratagem, but still also add some nice shooting. Typhus in this squad, in this list. Malignant Plaguecasters, the Tallyman to bring command points. 20 Plague Marines in this one, 15 in that one, more Rhinos here, 1 Rhino here, the 2 units of Deathshroud, the infiltrating Powxalkers, some spawn for actions and scout move, the footed blow drones with launchers, Mephitic Blightholder, or a Mower drone also here to spread contagion. So a lot of combinations possible here. So reaching to the summary and final thoughts, I think the Champions of Contagion is a very interesting choice detachment for Death Guard, and it kind of maximizes our plague and gives us more flexibility with the plague, and as such it's quite interesting. The flexibility to adjust the plague as the battle progresses is fun, and I think the final ingredient is a must-have, and it's really nice to combo at least 1, 2, or even 3 plagues. Lord of Foxes and Cornucophagos could be an interesting choice, although a bit expensive, and it's a well-balanced detachment with both defensive and offensive strats and plays. And leaders and infantry, can wreak havoc, and some of the, we have some strong plays, and with the Champions of Contagion, Stratagems and Enhancements, it can be even stronger. So this concludes the video. What do you think about the Champions of Contagion? Have you had the chance to play it, and what has your impressions been? Let me know. I always appreciate reading your questions and comments to my videos. Please press like and subscribe to the channel. We're very close to 10,000 followers. That would be really great to reach that milestone. And as always, of course, a special thanks, very special thanks to my YouTube member, GeneralJannis supporters. And with these words, GeneralJannis signing out. Stay safe out there, and bye-bye.